All right, it is 9:30. Christopher, do we have quorum?
Councillor, you have full attendance now. I believe Councillor Suds will be joining momentarily.
Fantastic. So we will get underway. Just a few reminders for today's meeting, which is being held using Zoom. Members and committee of staff, please stay on mute at all times unless called upon to speak. Members of council, if you wish to speak, please use the raise hand feature located at the bottom of the participants list in Zoom. *9 for those participating by phone. This meeting will be live streamed on YouTube. Any phone-in participants, please do not put the phone on hold. Before we begin, we'll do a quick roll call, although I think that's a little bit redundant at this point, but Councillor DeRuse? Hey, George. Councillor King, who I see. I saw him, he's here. Councillor Tierney.
Good morning, Jeffrey.
Good morning, Tim. Vice Chair Kavanaugh.
Here.
And is Councillor Suds with us now?
I am.
Hey, good morning, Jenna. How are you? So today's meeting is to receive the single item on the agenda, which is an update on the 2021 work plan. Before we get started, I do want to remind members that the clerk's office is also using this meeting and its agenda as a preliminary testbed for the new eScribe software system, which is set to replace our old Sire e-agenda system by year's end. As a result, some members may be accessing the meeting documents using the new eScribe platform. Any members with questions on this can contact the clerk's office. More details will be available in the coming months regarding the launch of the new public-facing website for committee agendas and meetings. I know we're all excited about that. The one item on today's agenda is the Information Technology Services Work Plan 2021 update. For those members following along on the eScribe platform, it is listed as agenda item number 3.1. Please note that there will be an in-camera portion associated with this item. Our intent is to receive a staff presentation in open session, following which we will receive any public delegations, of which I do not believe we have any, followed by questions to staff and discussions. At the conclusion of the discussions and the questions, before we receive the item, Vice Chair Kavanaugh will read a motion to have us resolve in camera to receive a confidential update related to the security and digital risk program. And before we get underway, I'll just welcome Councillor Kavanaugh and Councillor King. I believe that's first attendance at ITSC and in those new roles. So with that, we'll dive right into agenda item number 1, the update. I believe, Valerie, you'll get that started?
I will, and with your permission, Chair, I'd like to take just a moment to introduce our new Interim Director of Service Transformation, who's attending IT Subcommittee for the first time. So I'd like to introduce Natalie Kahali. As I announced in writing at the end of May, Nat has taken on the acting role of the Director of Service Transformation for a 1-year term. I feel very lucky for us to have Nat in this role. She's a passionate and committed bilingual leader and truly understands the city through her 20-year career here at the City of Ottawa. Some of you may recognize Natalie through her roles as Masters of Ceremonies for many city events, including the recent All Staff. She's also, however, an experienced leader, a seasoned culture, change, and design thinking practitioner. This background, combined with an MBA, will help Nat to continue to support the organization as we continue to recover from the COVID pandemic and continue to transform our work culture to thrive post-pandemic and define our future of work together. Most recently, Natalie has been leading Service Transformation's organizational development portfolio, including critical support throughout the pandemic to all city departments, including Ottawa Public Health and the Ottawa Public Library. Throughout the pandemic, her support has been invaluable as she has led citywide change and organizational alignment through the People Task Team. As I mentioned in the announcement, over the next year, Natalie and the Service Transformation team will lead critical programs of interest to ITSC, including the Open Data Program, Connectivity, and Smart City. And I know you'll be hearing much more from her and her team at future meetings.
Thank you very much, Valérie. Merci pour ces mots de bienvenue. I'm excited that you're interested in the service transformations work on initiatives such as the development of the connectivity strategy, the open data program, and data analytics. I look forward to working with members of this committee and to hearing the discussions today.
Welcome, Natalie.
Welcome.
Thanks, Valerie.
Thank you. And with that, I will ask our Chief Information Officer, Sandro Carlucci, to give us a walkthrough of his presentation.
Thank you, Valerie. All right. Sorry. Thank you, Chair and committee members, for allowing me to present an update on the ITS work plan and our continued COVID-19 support. Merci, Monsieur le Président, et aux membres du comité de m'avoir permis de présenter une mise à jour sur le plan de travail des STI et notre soutien continu à la COVID-19. Next slide, please. Our strategic work plan is to ensure that we are clear about our roles in the organization and to identify what our priorities are so that we're in the best possible position to facilitate our clients in their delivery of services to our internal and external clients. Staff in ITS were involved in strategic planning exercise to foster a sense of ownership to ensure that the plan's successful. We took an open and transparent approach. We had touch points with staff. We had opportunities were provided in different forms to engage. We shared access to material among the team. This plan that you'll see today is internally driven, internally built. And just as importantly, it was developed in consultation with internal clients. The Information Technology Services 2021 work plan aligns with the city's strategic priorities and responds to emerging needs. Élaboré en consultation avec les clients internes, le plan de travail des services de technologie de information 2021 se harmonise avec les priorités stratégiques de la ville et répond aux besoins émergents. We're also looking at improvements to the work plan that allow us for continuous review, refresh, and reprioritization of work items to ensure that the plan meets the current needs of the corporation while maintaining an outlook on future work. We continue to be innovative change agents, valued partners, and trusted custodians. Next slide, please. Core operations. Information Technology Services is a key partner to all service areas across the City of Ottawa, enabling technology solutions that support optimized, efficient, and innovative service delivery. More than ever, staff rely on their laptops, on their mobile phones, on their tablets, as well as the need for either virtual or on-site support for when an issue occurs. ITS core operations enable the city with reliable and secure IT infrastructure to ensure a seamless work experience. ITS is committed to investing in our IT infrastructure and working to continuously improve core services for the city. The majority of ITS work plan efforts are dedicated to critical core operation work items such as servers and storage, data centers, data services, and legacy software replacement. ITS supports more than 400 enterprise and business-specific applications and is accountable for all the software lifecycle decisions to ensure technology investments are risk-conscious, that they're value-driven, financially responsible, and meet the needs of the city departments. ITS software rationalization program consists of identifying legacy applications and systems that have reached their end of life and replacing them with more powerful and supported enterprise platform technologies. Examples of platforms in the city's IT environment include SAP, Esri, Office 365, SharePoint, and Dynamics 365. As standard procedure, we proactively engage with all departments who would benefit from these tools to maximize our investments. City employees trust ITS to provide support and maintain various tool solutions every day in order to efficiently, successfully complete their work. Next slide, please. COVID-19 support. Since March 2020, the city put plans into action to help curb the spread of the virus, keeping the safety of our employees and residents at the forefront. The global 19 pandemic necessitated substantive adjustments across the corporation as lines of business recalibrated to deliver services safely and reliably. We continue to support the city in operations along with COVID-19 support. We will continue working with all departments, prioritizing projects to support COVID responses, operations, our residents, and economic recovery. Nous allons continuer à soutenir la ville dans les opérations et l'accompagnement COVID. Nous continuons à travailler avec tous les départements en priorisant les projets pour soutenir les réponses COVID, les opérations, nos résidents et la reprise économique. ITS has been instrumental in supporting the shift brought on by the pandemic by providing solutions, resources, and support. We continue to work closely with our clients and partners to discover new ways that we can leverage technology to continue to innovate, improve, and integrate our day-to-day work. As you see on the list over there, with regard to the solutions that we put into place, such as the self-assessment tool and the online booking, we've put in the AV video conferencing for meetings such as the one we're having today. Connectivity has been very important as part of the COVID test sites, but also the vaccinations that we've done to date. And then support, as I mentioned, people look to us to provide support for them while they do their work with the pandemic. Next slide, please. The vaccination support. This has been new and very important work that we anticipated would be there for 2021. Information Technology Services, Service Transformation, and our Chief Information Security and Digital Risk Officer play lead roles in the city's Emergency Operations Command and COVID-19 Task Force, and to support the significant technical, security, and data requirements for successful vaccination distribution. Through the first quarter of 2021, more than 30% of ITS have been made available in one way or another to support the COVID-19 initiatives. With the demand for digital services and vaccination technology increasing since the beginning of COVID-19 pandemic, ITS has successfully, as part of the vaccination support, set up secure technical infrastructure and provided the necessary hardware for each vaccination site, including the 8 fixed clinics and the 26 pop-up clinics so far. We've developed protocols and training for each of the sites. We've supported application integration with the provincial vaccination booking solution, coordinated vaccination records between the vaccination sites and the province, onboarded approximately 3,000 employees supporting the vaccination efforts. ITS continues leveraging and scaling existing technologies and applying advanced innovation and digital solutions to support critical needs. Some examples are with regards to registration and booking. We were able to use Microsoft Power Apps to create a pre-registration for citizens not supported through the provincial booking system. We were also able to use that solution to create an eligibility tool to guide citizens to the appropriate tool for vaccination registration. Our front desk solution provided to the OPH contact center to allow booking of citizens that did not meet requirements to book through the provincial system. With regards to the system management, we do all the communication of the release management from the province. We do the ongoing data management, issue resolutions. With regards to onboarding, we work with OPH, city staff, and partners. We are defining the onboarding process. We do training, job aids, and support. With respect to the vaccine clinic setup and support, working with EOC logistic team to select, configure, and support the City of Ottawa's COVID-19 vaccination sites. And what this includes is with regards to assessments, attending on-site visits to candidate locations to access connectivity, electrical, space, and storage considerations. With regards to equipment, we help with the forecasting, acquiring, and managing assets for a continuously evolving set of requirements, working with the Ministry of Health to deploy equipment supplied by the province. With respect to connectivity, accessing site cellular signal availability and strength, assessing site data collectivity, coordinate with vendors as needed to install additional bandwidth to meet client needs. And support, we provide on-site IT support resources at all times, at all clinics across the city. includes the initial setup of all equipment and removal for any site that is standing down. And this includes mass clinics, pop-up, and mobile as requested by OPH. Next slide, please. So we've done a lot of work I talked about with regards to our core activities, the COVID support, and the vaccination. But ITS has developed a multi-year roadmap with a detailed focus on the next 12 to 18 months. As part of the ICS Department Digital Excellence Strategy, ITS has developed a multi-year roadmap that organizes work into 4 focus areas: digital city, advanced innovation, secure city, and modern IT. STI a développé une feuille de route pluriannuelle avec un accent détaillé sur les 12-18 prochains mois qui organise le travail en 4 domaines d'intervention: ville numérique, innovation de pointe, ville sécurisée, et système de TI moderne. So as an example with regards to digital city, as the world continues to move digital, we are moving with it. In 2021, ITS will combine technology and expertise to further progress our organization in the digital realm. For example, our colleagues in human resources provide essential support to the various services areas across the city. With the implementation of SAP SuccessFactors, this will modernize our human resources by improving workforce insight and thus enabling strategic decision-making and business performance. Secure city. Ensuring the protection of people, services, and data against harm by way of theft, unauthorized use, disclosure, modification, damage, and/or loss of the city's digital infrastructure. Advanced innovation. We are constantly striving to improve, changing how we do business by applying advanced technologies and innovation to the end user. We will continue to look for opportunities such as to increase the use of the chatbot, which is a fully virtual agent built by the AI framework in Microsoft. And modern IT. As the nation's capital, we strive to be the IT leader among municipalities. We are rich with forward, innovative thinkers, and I'm really excited about the projects included in this thing. Our people are our most important asset, and ITS will continue to invest in our people in 2021 by implementing an ITS talent roadmap that will identify emerging trends across the industry, requiring internal training and establishing a learning path for staff in the mentorship program. So these 4 items, everything that we do, we try to align it to digital city, secure city, advanced innovation, and modern IT. So all the work that I talked about, but the core ties into modern IT. How do we become better? If we can go to the next slide, please. So here we're looking at all the work that we've done to date in 2021 with regards to digital city. I won't go through all of them for you, but despite competing pressures for ITS resources to support critical COVID-19 response and recovery efforts, we have made significant progress on many exciting in-flight projects and initiatives this year. One thing that I'm really excited about is enterprise data and analytics. As the city continues its transition towards digital, data becomes an increasingly essential asset. In partnership with Service Transformation, ITS established an enterprise data management system. The purpose of this strategy is to establish a cross-analytic platform and support data governance to better enable evidence-based decision-making and the harnessing of the new insights within city operations. In addition to the ongoing digital excellence effort, this strategy supports many of the city's strategic priorities, including diversity and inclusion, operational excellence, employee experience, and client experience. In parallel to this work, ITS and ST have partnered with several departments to deliver value through data projects. An example is the data project solution created to enable Ottawa Public Health to analyze COVID case progress notes in order to identify COVID outbreak hubs. Currently, ITS is working on 8 other analytics solutions and has more planned throughout the remainder of the year. If we can go to the next slide, please. Modern IT. So this is where I talked a little bit about our core operations. ITS core operations enable the city with reliable and secure IT infrastructure to ensure a seamless work experience. We are committed to investing in our IT infrastructure and working to continuously improve core services for the city. The majority of our work efforts are dedicated to critical core operations such as I mentioned earlier, servers and storage, data centers, data services, and the legacy software replacement rationalization. The legacy software replacement platform rationalization policy really enables us to put in a good plan of being able to recommending leveraging existing platform solutions before considering custom built and or third-party alternatives. So we have a variety of different applications. We have in-house, we have third-party, we have on-premise, we have hosted, and the application environment is complex and requires increasing resources to manage and maintain. By implementing the legacy software replacement, when we're looking at systems that are coming to end of life, some of the benefits of the software rationalization and platform alignment approach include overall reduction in the city's technical footprint and total cost of ownership, less complex technology environment that lends itself well to scaling digital business, quicker delivery of software solutions, ensuring the use of modern technical systems and languages, and improving standard maintenance process and activity. In 2021, ITS is continuing working with our clients to replace major business applications such as MAP, land management capabilities, CLASS, booking and registration solution for recreation and culture programming, and service, which is the social assistance services system. Work is also started on replacing the current intranet ozone technologies with a combination of platform capabilities, as well as replacing the internal service management solution, something we call Marvell, which is more than 10 years old. Next slide, please. Secure City. This is an extremely important pillar of what we do. It is a component of our business that is constantly evolving and requires us to continuously strengthen the level of the city's secure posture and mitigate risk associated with the exposure to the ever-changing threat landscape. As we introduce new and modern technology and move our business to the cloud, our technology risk increase. Tremendous work has been accomplished in this regard, but the threat landscape is ever-changing, and it is vital that ITS and the entire city remain vigilant. Part of that will be renewal of our business continuity plan and involving our data security framework. Next slide, please. Advanced innovations. The work that ITS has done with automation as an example as part of our advanced innovation has been critical in supporting the city in the pandemic response. Notable automation projects include Bruce, the Ottawa Public Health Chatbot, automated data collection, and formation of the OPH dashboards, and the vaccine eligibility and booking solution for internal employees and frontline workers. The ITS team has further supported Ottawa Public Health by developing data models and report templates for the COVID dashboards to perform data analysis for informed critical decision-making. Now, I'm going to ask my colleague, Matt Grenier, Manager, Technology Modernization, to provide a little bit further detail on some of our exciting work that we've been doing in automation. Thank you.
Thank you, Sandro. And thank you, Chair. Merci, Président. I wanted to briefly speak to you about innovation enablement at the City of Ottawa, and specifically focusing in on our automation and data analytics capabilities. For background, in 2018, we developed a digital readiness strategy within IT, and our plan focused primarily on key platforms, skill sets, and capabilities that will enable digital transformation at the City of Ottawa. And these included our architecture practices in IT, our cloud platform, automation platform and capability, and data analytics platform and services that we are offering to the business. Specifically from an automation and artificial intelligence perspective, we created an automation as a service capability and that technology platform. We skilled up our internal team and delivered several valuable use cases in collaboration with business partners across the organization. The overall or overarching mandate for the automation team has been to establish the platform itself, offer automation services to business clients, including low-code, no-code solutions, self-serve, business process automation, and machine learning and artificial intelligence capabilities, and to apply automation within IT to enhance our security, quality, and capacity. To date, the IT automation team has worked with our business partners to automate approximately 20,000 previously manual business steps, saved 5,000 annual hours of manual effort, and eliminated 18,000 instances of human error within business processes. While there are many other opportunities to discover and implement going forward, we've already completed some exciting use cases within the city to date, some of which Sandra previously just mentioned, but I'll just go over them quickly. In the automation space, especially during COVID response, we partnered with Ottawa Public Health to deliver the Boost chatbot. And that's now a self-serve. They maintain the content within that chatbot themselves. Data collection and formation for epidemiology dashboards. So that's some of that outbreak tracking and statistics for the outbreak of COVID, as well as vaccine eligibility booking solution, which Sandra also mentioned. From an enterprise analytics perspective, in 2018, we stood up our IT data and analytics team, and we began to form our enterprise data platform. We worked very closely with our service transformation partners on analytics initiatives. So we identified and partnered with business clients or early segments that were looking to adopt analytics or improve, gain some insights from data. And these these client groups were childcare services, public works and services, Ottawa Public Health, obviously, and within IT ourselves. The overarching goal of the enterprise analytics program has been to enable intelligent investment, evidence-based decision-making and insights for the city, with the goal of establishing the key capabilities and platform that will enable a data-driven city. We have many opportunities ahead in the analytics space as well, and we've already begun this journey with key business partners, including some projects such as predictive analytics for childcare, which I mentioned, text analytics for Ottawa Public Health, Twitter analytics within IT, so monitoring external Twitter feeds and looking for keywords and sort of insights, and also sentiment analysis as a prototype with our human resources department. Just some other stats that are relevant around data and analytics. We have 10 plus data analytics use cases that have been delivered with business partners in 2020. Eight business departments enabled with virtualization or self-serve tool sets. That's namely Power BI, if you wanted a tool. And then we've developed 50 plus reports that have been published internally within the organization through that Power BI interface, as well as we have 3 strategic enterprise capabilities that are in progress, including metadata management, organizational data quality management, as well as enterprise data governance. With that, I wanted to play a quick video that's going to sort of explore 2 of these use cases in more detail, and they are Ottawa Public Health related use cases. The first one is focused on the outbreak hub analytics that Sandra talked about, and the second is on our Ottawa Public Health chatbot. So I'll hand that over to you.
The purpose of this use case taken up with Ottawa Public Health was to enable them to extract important information from the COVID case progress notes in order to identify spread hubs based on specific keywords throughout Ottawa communities. OPH's dilemma was how to analyze and extract useful information from the high volume of text entered daily in the COD application by multiple caseworkers, amounting to over 475,000 total records of progress notes entered by over 900 caseworkers since the start of the pandemic. Our solution was to use cognitive services text analytics with the named entity recognition function in Power BI to extract events, locations, and organizations mentioned in progress notes. By incorporating client demographics, we were able to map specific keywords to their corresponding Ottawa community and visually show where those clients resided and worked. The report turned out to be of real value for OPH by saving them a lot of time and effort in detecting COVID spread hubs per community. They also voiced a desire to migrate this report to their new CCM database. Thank you.
Mounting pressure on the OPH phone lines necessitated an alternate avenue for self-serve information options for the citizens of the city. By implementing technologies utilized in our hyper-automation platform, we were able to deliver a solution that allowed the business owners to provide the content, while IT managed the solution in a true democratized technology solution. Located directly on the Ottawa Public Health page, the bot is easy to access by citizens. Citizens simply click the virtual assistant button in the lower right-hand corner the bot appears and they can ask their question. The bot then provides a contextually aware answer and provides links to further information if appropriate. The bot also asks for a rating to determine if the interaction was successful, which is used to feed back-end analytics. Since inception, the bot has saved 6,500 phone hours of calls while being fast to adopt and scale. Created and released in a mere 2 weeks, it also allows the content owners the full ability to manage their own content.
All right, and thank you very much. I'm going to hand it over to Angela Scanlon. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair. I'm here to provide a brief update on 2 connectivity-related matters. The first is with respect to the city's public Wi-Fi program. As you're aware, the city currently offers access to public Wi-Fi in 25 of its recreation facilities and in all 33 branches of the Ottawa Public Library. Over the course of the pandemic, requests have been made to expand the city's Wi-Fi offering into additional facilities as a way of extending internet service to those who may not have reliable access to quality internet at home. As this is an unbudgeted request, the city has looked to leverage funding that provincial and federal governments are making available to improve connectivity in communities across the country. In May 2021, the city was awarded funding under the Investing in Canada Infrastructure Program, which will fund the expansion of the city's Wi-Fi program to an additional 13 facilities located in priority neighborhoods. The grants will cover the capital investment costs, but the ongoing operational costs will be brought forward as a budget pressure in 2021. Moving forward, the city will continue to seek out these funding opportunities until we have satisfied this requirement within our community. A more fulsome progress update will be brought forward to this committee by the end of 2021. Next slide, please. The second update is with respect to the direction around examining the potential of providing broadband as a public utility. At the previous meeting of this committee, staff were directed to begin examining the possibility of Ottawa adopting a public utility model as a way of providing residents with affordable access to the internet. In response, staff have begun looking to other cities who are considering implementing this type of model, such as Toronto, New York, and the City of Kingston. Staff have also been monitoring federal and provincial plans for addressing the affordability of the internet for Canadians to understand any potential applicability for Ottawa. The Innovative Client Services Department is in the process of hiring professional service with expertise in this area to conduct a preliminary assessment of this type of model, which will look at overall feasibility and funding considerations. Staff will report back to this committee on this matter before the end of this year. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Valerie, Sandro, Angela, Matt. Obviously, a broad range of activities that have been undertaken. I just want to say, yesterday I took my son to Ruddy for vaccination, and I cannot imagine a more efficient, well set up, well run operation. Thank you for all the work that you're doing on that front. We will move before moving in camera to questions from members of the committee, and I see first up Councillor Suds.
You caught me off guard. I thought Councillor Kavanagh was first.
Oh, and it will go to Councillor Kavanagh. Thanks.
Thank you very much to both of you. Great, very exciting presentations, because we're moving forward, and it's there's so much to do to get caught, just ever changing. I was particularly interested in the presentation to talk about connectivity for the public. I'm aware of the buildings that are getting hooked up with Wi-Fi, and of course we have to go beyond that. And I appreciate the fact that you're looking at other cities. You were talking about hiring a staff person specifically for that. What kind of background do they have, and what are they looking at? Are they looking at our utilities that we have across the city that we can hook into? I'm trying to see what their mission is.
Thank you, Chair, for the question. So we will actually be looking for an external service provider who has expertise in this area, as the city is not really set up with that kind of background. So we would be looking for someone who would be looking at, yes, what our assets are, doing that kind of mapping and understanding where there would be gaps, but also someone who could help us understand what the landscape is and what the other models that are being considered currently in other cities are.
That's great. I hope I get a chance to talk to the person, because we certainly heard about it from groups like Acorn, who have where Chair Leeper and I had met with and heard stories about people with many complications and trying to be hooked up. And so I've certainly heard our own stories about households with like 4 kids and poor internet, if any, while they're trying to learn at home right now. So I appreciate that very much. I have questions in terms of our booking systems. Not COVID this time, but the booking system just for our recreation. I have had emails saying that the system crashed when they were trying to register. This was back in the spring. And is this some of the things that we're trying to resolve?
Thank you, Councillor, for the question. I'll try to answer as best I can. With regards to the class system, that's one reason why we want to do the upgrade, go to the new version. It's not a very reliable system that we have in place. And so we're going to be working with our colleagues at Rec and Culture and Facility Services to put in a new system that will be a lot more reliable. Now, with regards to the crashing of the system, I know that there's a lot of work that's been done by all sides to ensure that does not happen. But unfortunately, there could be a big peak in demand. And with the older system, it's not as reliable. And so we're working really diligently with our client to get that new system in place, because I think that's always going to be the big demand, especially once we get out of this pandemic. People want to kind of go back to a little bit normal. They're looking for that more interactive type of solution as well. So I think we're going to get there. We still do, I think, a great job to try not to have the crashes happening while we're doing the current booking that we have in place, but we are working to replace that. And I think once we do that, hopefully we'll see an improvement in that as well.
That's great to know. I know that's a big concern, just in terms of everybody using online services. And after we've seen, I spent most of last week, as soon as we have an announcement for more vaccines, and this is to do with the province's system crashing, it was difficult. So whatever we do, don't do what they did, because it didn't work. And hopefully we'll have a reliable system that can handle volume. Thank you guys for all your work. I'll move on to my colleague.
Thank you very much, Vice Chair Kavanaugh. Councillor Sudds, please.
Thank you very much, Chair. And first of all, just I really enjoyed that presentation. Very thorough. Great to see a number of different initiatives and get that update. So my thanks for that. But probably more importantly, my thanks to all the team who have been doing all this heavy lifting throughout COVID. If we think about all aspects of our operations as a city that have been impacted for our employees, but then also how we're pivoting for residents, it really is because of ITS that we're here and having this conversation. So my thanks for that. I noted in the presentation, there was a slide that indicated, or maybe it was Sandra, a comment that said that 30% of staff have been supporting the COVID response. I'm not sure why I'm surprised by that number, but it is a big number. So my question is, how are the rest of the operations managing? And, from a staffing perspective, looking forward and understanding that the pressures are still going to be on for some time, how are you planning for that?
Thank you, Councillor. I think that's a fantastic question. And yeah, the number is amazing. And it's not just IT that's doing a lot of this work. I know there's a lot of our other colleagues within ICS that have put a lot of effort. in supporting not only the COVID support, but the vaccine rollout. When I mentioned 30%, that's usually probably at the is when we've done a lot of the setups for the vaccination sites, getting that support out there. And then some people participate, a few hours. Some participate for a number of days. Some have been seconded to it to kind of support it from a more of a longer term perspective. And so what we've done is, as I mentioned, part of our plan, it was built internally, right? So we all had a say in what we wanted to do in 2021. And we all knew that the vaccination was going to be really important, and we prioritized our work. Like we've identified all of our work that comes in. We look at it, does it line up with being a modern IT, digital city, secure city, advanced innovation? What's the priority of it? How important is it with our clients? How important is it with the city strategic plan? How do we reprioritize it? And we have constant meetings with the management team weekly since the beginning of the year to reprioritize that work. And we've met with our staff, and yes, they're overworked. But we try to look at ways to try to automate our own work internally so we can kind of create a little bit of that capacity. The other part too is we are very fortunate to have such an amazing IT team that is so dedicated, so committed, are so proud of the work that they do. And when some people work in IT, this is their work that they love to do, putting in those extra hours, doing that commitment. But we're also very cognizant of our staff, that they're really important for us. Their health is also important. We don't want to overwork anyone. So we try to have that conversation with staff, reprioritizing some of the work. And when I mentioned 30%, it really is to kind of get certain people out and bring other people in, right? So kind of rejig different individuals so that it isn't always just on one individual. So I think to answer your question, really what we've done is the communication among the team, the communication among the other departments, and trying to prioritize that work, working with other departments within ICS of the importance of the item that's coming in, reprioritizing it, and having that ability to adjust it on the fly on almost on a weekly, daily basis.
Yeah, and I would just add, Councillor, that some of our work plan items have been slowed. We have taken a look across the organization at the commitments that we've made and tried to replan where we can. And some things we have had to push out beyond their original completion dates. I have been just extraordinarily impressed with city staff in terms of their ability to just keep slogging through the extraordinary amount of work. And we do know, the city manager referenced it, I think at a council meeting, the last one or the one previous, that we did a employee pulse, and that the general well-being of our staff has deteriorated. 44% have self-identified as having physical and mental health deterioration. So we are encouraging staff to take holidays. We are encouraging staff to take some time for themselves over the summer so that they can maintain their health. But it is, as Sandro has described, looking at both, what are the absolute priorities, and immunization always rises to the top, and COVID response, and then what can we replan? And then really hoping that we're going to be able to take the foot off of the gas a little bit over the next few months as the immunization rates increase, so that staff can take some much needed vacation and rest.
Good to hear. Amazing. And yes, I can only appreciate the pressures. Okay, I'll leave it at that. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Sudds. Councillor King?
Thank you, Chair. And I want to join in and congratulate staff for the amazing amount of work that they've done over the past period with COVID. I know earlier in when the crisis began, talking to senior staff members, they were talking about the quick transition to everybody, or more or less a tremendous number of people working from home. And when you think about the logistical challenge of that, it's quite incredible. So once again, I really want to thank staff for that. The transition of more than 10,000, 12,000 people to work from home is actually quite incredible tax on resources. And I think that staff should be commended for that. I did have some questions around lessons potentially learned from the new Bruce system and other AI bots that are potentially being applied to COVID response. I'm just wondering if staff is really examining the use of these bots for other case uses, including 311. Because obviously we have a tremendous number of calls that come through to 311 is taken up by Service Ottawa and also by counselors' offices. So when I hear about the amount of time that might be saved on the phone or through other mechanisms, I'm curious whether there can be serious consideration of the utilization of AI-driven bots for 311 service requests from residents.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor. I'll answer specifically on 311 and then I'll pass it on to my colleagues who may have some deeper information. One of the most complex channels for 311 to manage is actually email because it's, if you will, it's one of our most expensive channels in terms of, and it's one of the least satisfying experiences for our residents as well. So we are starting to look at, could we use some AI to actually do some frequently asked questions to go through and be able to read the email, try to discern how we can respond to the resident more quickly. Again, with a focus on the client experience and a focus on getting back to that client as quickly as possible. So thank you. Yes, you're right. That is one of the use cases that we've just started to look at. But I'll pass it on to Sandro and Matt to see if they have some other examples for you.
Thank you. Yeah, I think I'll give Matt to probably go into more details, but I know that as part of the 311 for the Lagan replacement, the focus is going to be on self-serve, leveraging bots. With respect to lessons learned of what we've done to date with the bots, maybe I'll turn it over to my colleague Matt that he can kind of go into some more details.
Yeah, thanks for the question. So we've experimented with bots early on in the pandemic and even before, and we did deploy right since the beginning where we went home. I think it was March 12th or 13th. We actually deployed a bot, and that bot was actually used internally to support staff from a remote working perspective. It answered questions, linked them to documentation and those types of situations. So that was really critical early on to get people support and reduce the number of calls coming into like IT service desk and HR, etc. So that was one use. Another use was obviously the OPH bot. And we're also working with some of our colleagues from internal, invoice processing and things like that to apply the bots as well. And I can say, without speaking on behalf of 311, that we do speak with them regularly about these innovation opportunities and how these things can be deployed. So we are in conversations with them about these sort of opportunities. And lastly, about the bots, I'll say that we had originally started out using bot technology that was very early on. It's more rule-based, and we're actually moving further into the AI space. So it's a lot more powerful, and it also is faster to spin up. So we're able to deploy these things much faster now than we were before. So it's a very, very amazing what's going to be possible in the future. Thanks.
Well, I appreciate those answers, and I'm appreciative of the fact that there is some discussion amongst your department and also Service Ottawa, because it's my belief, of course, in the future, if we are able to leverage these technologies in a very comprehensive way, we could reduce costs, reduce the friction in terms of interfacing with residents as clients, as customers. We could feed into big data environments with instant data, and we could have faster response in terms of service calls. So I'm pleased that we are having those discussions, and down the road, I would love to see a chat bot, not unlike what we saw at OPH's website, where we're interfacing, with Service Ottawa. You're asking for services, you're getting some level of resolution, immediately you're able to rank your experience. So I'm looking forward to that. Another quick question is just examining the use of technologies for, residents and greater internet access. And I was just wondering if part of the tools and the approach that you're looking at involve both mesh networking opportunities and also kiosks. We see that exciting project in New York City, Link NYC, where people can go to a kiosk on a public street and have access. And I was just wondering if these are some of the methods of access that you might be looking at for further public resident access to Wi-Fi internet.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor, for the question. And on your other comment, we've recently come up with a strategic plan for innovative client services, and both Service Ottawa and IT are part of innovative client services, and we really are focused on an exceptional client experience. And our North Star is one where the resident should not have to have any knowledge of the city to get services. So this kind of seamless, you know, the Amazon of the world, where you don't have to go to Amazon Furniture or Amazon Books or Amazon, really is this notion of one stop for the resident and having that seamless, frictionless client experience. On the second piece, those are amazing ideas, and when we have our consultant come in to look at how we're going to be taking on this notion of access, so is it broadband as a public utility? What are the different flavors of that? I think it would be very, very helpful if councillors were interested, the IT subcommittee councillors, to be interviewed by the consultant, because these are things I think we'd like to capture. Councillor Kavanagh also had some great ideas. I know Councillor Sudds and I have had interactions. So if that's something that the members were interested in, I think it would be extremely helpful for us to have the consultant sit down with each of you and get some of that insight.
Absolutely would be interested, and thank you for your answers. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Councillor Tierney.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just real quick, yeah, congratulations on the great stuff you're doing. I'm experiencing frustration this morning on the Ontario.ca website trying to get my second booking, and I don't know if they can organize a one-car parade, but anyway, we're doing a great job, and that's what I'm very proud of. That being said, when it comes to the next technologies that come down the pipe, and let's all face it, mobile phone use is way above desktop use from a user point of view. Are we keeping in mind for like Sire Leg and all our products go forward? Because it is very frustrating with the Sire product, especially on mobile access. Is that a set, like when you're looking at prioritizing mobile phone access, ease of use, are these criteria that are built into what you're looking at right now, Sandra?
Excellent question. Thank you. Thank you for the question. I think every project has a little bit of a difference, but mobile is considered for all the projects, right? So we do look at that, because you're right. That's where, you know, the trend's going, you know, with regards to having that mobile device used in their phone. So obviously we work with the clients on their projects. They're the subject matter experts. We're there from a technology. We provide that direction with them, but it is considered for all of our projects. Yes.
Terrific work. That's all I had today. Thank you again.
Okay. Thank you, Council.
Thank you very much, Councillor Tierney. Councillor DeRuse.
Good morning, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much. And Councillor Tierney actually asked some of the question I want to ask, but I also want to, since we had a great presentation by staff, and of course, I am really always interested in our IT system and implementation. They've done a great job. Like, I mean, we've been hearing about our pop-up rural clinic and all that, but you know, it's good. OPH is doing an amazing job putting needle in the arm, but there is infrastructure and things happen to it, need to put together and need to disassemble after all these pop-up clinic, and for all these clinics and amount of people getting vaccination and keeping record and track record and connecting to the provincial system. It's I want to make sure they know that we've seen it. We know that all the heavy lifting that happened behind the scene, you're not an invisible individual. All your team has been, we recognize them and we appreciate all the work, especially from the City of Ottawa resident, what happened and demonstrate in this COVID. I don't want to miss asking question about connectivity, and I want to take Valerie on her offer that I would love to be interviewed or have a meeting with the consultant to look about connectivity. I know Councillor King mentioned it, Councillor Kavanagh, and I know that I was Councillor Sudds always asks about the question about rural connectivities and community centers. I know that we do have COVID show and demonstrate how our residents, some of them, they don't have a connectivity in rural area from broadband, from signal weakening of signals and things like that. So it's so nice during COVID if some of those seniors will be able to go to public places for them to be able to book their vaccination. So I know that there is a lack of connectivity in rural area, and I'm hoping that will be considered throughout our initiative, I know that that staff has been looking for implementing those, and I know that it is really important for our rural resident in the city to be able to connect. So I really appreciate if we can expand on that a little bit and keep in mind that there is people in the rural area really depend on this connectivity, but we don't have them. And I'm happy to hear some comment from Valerie or from Angela.
Yes, thank you, Councillor. And if we look back to the pre-COVID connectivity issues that we were looking at, and they both remain on the table. One is affordability, and the other is availability. And you know, and this is, I think, part of our challenge, and what makes this a little more difficult than what some of the more concentrated cities are dealing with. The mayor's map was circulating on Twitter on the weekend, and I have it on my phone here, where we have Edmonton, Calgary, Toronto, Montreal, and Vancouver, all kind of stuffed geographically within the 2,700 some square kilometers of Ottawa. And this is part of our challenge, is that we are a major city of over 1 million people, and we're spread out, and we have areas ranging down to your ward, out to Councillor El-Shantiri's ward. It's not a simple matter to try to solve for both affordability and for accessibility and availability. So absolutely, that remains in scope, and it remains one of the two things that we are trying to solve for, if you will.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Drews. One quick question on my part as well. The class system, our Parks and Recreation registration system, I recall well in the last term of council talking to residents about the fact that we were going to be replacing that system. What is the delay? What kind of timeline can we expect? I think it would be unacceptable to residents if we left this term of council without that system in place.
Thank you, Councillor. Let me follow up with Rec and Culture and Facility Services on the work plan. I know from our perspective, involvement in some of that project, you know, supporting COVID took away some of those particular resources to work on that particular project. Same thing with our colleagues in Rec and Culture. You know, they were working on other items. But I know that the team is working really hard on the replacement of class. It's a priority for us in IT. It's a priority for our colleagues in Rec and Culture. We have regular meetings. We've got steering committee meetings that I go with the various directors from Rec and Culture to get the updates. So right now, if I had to give you a date, and I can reach out with our colleagues to confirm it, it's going to be March of 2022 that we're looking to launch a go live with the class replacement system. And we've been working in consultation with the client, but also working with the vendor, right? Sometimes there's also challenges with the vendor to meet our requirements, our needs, having a bilingual system, having an accessible system, right? So those are the must-haves, and we're working with the vendor. So there's been that combination where, you know, our resources have been reallocated to other work items, but this is still a #1 priority. And then working with the vendor to make sure that they're meeting our minimum requirements that we need, that are mandatory for us to go live. But I'll confirm with the client, but right now we're aiming for March of 2022 to have a go live.
Thanks for that, Sandro. Hundreds of thousands of people have visited a city vaccination clinic and have had an amazing experience with no hiccups. And it's really hard for residents maybe to see just how incredible work staff have been doing on that. But that one evening when trying to sign up their kids for swim lessons doesn't work well, you know, that's the impression of what the city's doing. And I do know that Parks and Rec, who I assume are listening in on this call, they are heavily implicated in pandemic response as well, with a lot of resources devoted to that. And we all thank them for their partnership on that front as well. So I'll just leave it there. Thank you very much to the team for that update. You hear the interest on the part of committee members. You're doing fantastic work, and I know we're all proud to be working with you. With that, I think we're going to go into an in-camera session. Councillor or Vice Chair Kavanaugh, do you have a motion to bring us in?
Chair Leeper, if I may.
Please.
Could we should have done this at the start of the meeting. I apologize. Can we go through the declarations of interest and confirm the minutes from the last meeting.
So I'll ask, are there any declarations of interest? Seeing none, no. Are the minutes of the previous meeting approved? Received? Carried? Thank
Approved.
you. So with that, Chris, may we move into the in-camera motion from Vice Chair Kavanaugh?
Okay.
I'll take that as a yes.
Thank you, Chair. That in accordance with procedure bylaw 2021-24, the Information Technology Subcommittee resolved to move in camera pursuant to subsection 13(1)(a), the security of the property of the city, to receive the presentation on portions of the Information Technology Services 2021 work plan related to the security and disk risk program, and that based upon the rationale set out in the legal implications section of the report titled Information Technology Services 2021 Work Plan Update, this confidential update will not be reported out.
Is that motion carried?
Carried.
Thank you. So we're going to leave this meeting and go into another one to deal with the confidential and camera portion. We'll be resuming in this channel when that is over, and I believe all of us have the note from Christopher on how to participate in the in-camera. So we'll see you in about 5 minutes or so. Thank you.